Hello everyone, welcome back again to Angela's Craft Room. Today I've got a card for you using the Serene Garden stamp set and also the matching framelits, which are called the Garden Scene Framelits. So this is the Serene Garden stamp set that we're going to be using, and these are the Garden Scene framelits. So this piece here, all these other pieces are framelits, so they cut out your shapes for you. But where people are getting confused is this piece, it doesn't cut out, it embosses. So I'm going to show you the sandwich that works for me through my big shot today, and hopefully help those that are having a bit of a problem realizing that this only embosses. Okay, so we're going to start off with a piece of Whisper White, which is 5 1/4 by 3 7/8. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be just positioning this piece just so it's got a little edge at the bottom and at the top, like that. And what I also could do would be what I might do is grab my Clips masking tape and just so I'm just going to tear that so it stays in position. Okay, so it stays in position. Now I'm bringing in my big shot, which I don't normally do with my tutorials. Now the sandwich I use is the Big Shot platform. Then I use my thin die adapter. Then I use one clear plate, and then I'm going to put my cardstock that's got that embossing piece on it, and then just another clear plate on top of that, and I'm going to run that through, and hopefully you will be able to see it embossed, I'm hoping. So I'll just move that big shot for a minute because we need to run it through again. So I'm just going to peel that off. So we'll just keep that there. So we're finished with that piece. Put over there. Now I hope that you can see how that's just, let's see if I can get it. There we go. You can see that's embossed. So it doesn't cut out, it embosses. Okay. So now what we want to do is grab one of the framelits out of the Garden Scene framelits, which is this one. And what that's going to do is it's going to cut out the leaves. So as you can see, we put a different colour on the back of this white piece, and when you cut out the leaves it shows the other colour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just put it in the light so I can see it, and I just need to line it up So it's going to cut out just line it up with the leaves. And I'm just going to take that Eclipse masking tape again. I mean, if you were doing it with your big shot, you could just use your magnetic platform or that, but I don't normally tape it down like that. It's just because I'm doing it for a video, I don't want it moving. So I'm just going to put that onto there, and then it's the same sandwich as I did in the first for the embossing. It's exactly the same sandwich. I did see one lady, she was using all these different mats and things to do the embossing part, and I just don't really understand why she was doing that. And then we'll just take that off. We can get rid of my plates now and just take that off. That's going to be so we'll just get rid of that, and as you can see, that's cut out all the little leaves all the way around. So then what I'm going to do is get a piece of cherry cobbler, which is also 5 1/4 by 3 7/8 of an inch, and I'm going to glue that onto there like that, so it just shows through that lovely cherry cobbler. I'm having all sorts of dramas with my camera today. It just won't sit still. So I hope that it's staying. Hope it's all right for you. Okay, so then I need some Tombow glue, and I find the best way to do this is to glue the white piece. So I'm just going in between those cut out pieces a little bit. But I just think this is a very effective technique with the framelits, but you just got to know what sandwich to put them through. And everyone seems to be using the Serene Garden, but not many people are using the Garden Scene Framelits, so I thought I'd just do a tutorial for you on those. So I'm just going to grab my non-stick mat because I want to lay it down and just press that down so it adheres. I might just turn it over and give it a bit of a rub. Oh, my camera seems to be behaving itself now, just kept moving. Okay, so we've got that like that. So now what I need to do is to stamp on here. So I'll just pop my Tombow away and bring in my Stamparatus. And I'm just going to pop, you should be used to me popping a stamp pad under there to give me leverage. So I'm going to put one of these on here, and then I'm going to get the little corner, there it is, the little corner image, and I'm just going to pop it up there. I'd have to do like that, and just grab the cherry cobbler and I've just put ink all over me, so we'll just remove that. So I'm just going to stamp up that little guy, and hopefully I'll get a good impression. Awesome. So then I'm just going to use my Stampin' Up chamois to wipe that off so I can do the other corner down the bottom. So a good way to line it up is to have the rubber right on the edge of the cardstock. And just bring that magnet down. And then hopefully we will get a nice straight image. And you can see that I'm hardly touching that image with my ink pad. Just depends on how juicy it is. So there's our corners done. That was nice, quick and easy, wasn't it? So just pop that one back in before I lose it. So then I'm just going to slide that magnet off. I find it's easier to slide the magnets off than to try and pick them up because they're just so strong. Now I'm going to put this over to the middle a little bit, and I'm going to stamp this flower. Now there's an embossing piece coming up there and one going over here. So I'm just positioning the flower in the middle. I might even just, because the stem is on a bend, I might just let it go the way it wants to go. I did use the bird last time, but I thought I'd use the flower this time. So I'm going to do it in cherry cobbler again, because there we go, and I'll explain why. So that's got a really nice crisp image, so I'll just wipe that over with my chamois straight away, take off any excess ink and pop that in there, slide that down, pop the Stamparatus out the way. Close my ink pad. Now, what I'm going to do now is bring in that piece. I've still got this piece. Now I'm going to glue this piece now onto my card base. So I've used basic black. It's 11 inches long by 4 1/8 of an inch wide, and then scored at 5 1/2. And you can just do whatever colours you want, of course. And then inside I've stamped the lovely corner image from the Serene stamp set, Serene Garden stamp set, which is this one here, and just stamped on its own. It's just beautiful. It's got so much detail in it. So this piece inside, the Whisper White, is 5 1/4 inches by 3 7/8 of an inch, and then I've just stamped that in cherry cobbler before adhering it to my card inside. And then we're going to put this on the front to start with. And I have cut out a couple of elements from using the Garden Scene Framelits and the Serene Garden stamp set for this card, just to save time. And I have coloured them so that you don't need to sit there and watch me colour. So we'll just get that down. Just press that down. So I've used the Stampin' Up blends to colour my images, but I've only used the cherry cobbler. I've just done it all in cherry cobbler just for this demonstration, because in my first card I used several different colours, so I thought I'd just do it all in cherry cobbler. So what I did was, all on Whisper White, I stamped this flower and this butterfly and the 3 flowers up here, and then I used the Garden Scene Framelits, which are these ones, to cut them out, which they cut out very easily. So then then I coloured them in cherry cobbler. So, and I've added a little bit of Winker Stella on them, and I don't know if you can see on the butterfly, maybe the little white dots down the side is just with a white gel pen. There you go, you can see that. It's just with a white gel pen that I've just done those little dots. So I'm going to use dimensionals, so I'm just going to pop some dimensionals on the back of my flower, and that's why I grab a couple of mini ones as well. That is why I stamped the whole flower in cherry cobbler. How the stem is in cherry cobbler as well, because when I put this on, I've coloured this in cherry cobbler, and it will, even if you can see a little bit underneath, you'll only see cherry cobbler, so it won't matter. So we just get these . So I hope those that didn't realise that that piece from the Garden Scene Framelits doesn't actually cut, it embosses. And you could do a lot of things with it. You could sponge over it after you've embossed. So then that makes the flower itself just sit up a little bit off of that white. And then I think I'll put the butterfly about there. So just grab right. Hopefully that can't be seen from the front. And I will just grab my scissors, and I want to use one of the big dimensionals, but I just need to cut a little bit of it off. I'm not a real fan of the mini dimensionals. I don't use them very much, but if you've got a really small area, they are good for that. So then we're just going to pop the butterfly in there, and then we'll put some dimensionals, just one on the back of that one, and we'll put two on the back of this flower. So that one, there's where it's embossed, the two flowers. I'm just putting the two flowers over the top of where it's come out, where the two flowers are embossed, and then just over to the side, this flower is embossed singly. So I just want to pop that like that, and I think it looks really nice all in cherry cobbler actually. You know, it's quite nice. You know, a black and white one would be really nice too. So the only other thing that we really need to do is to put a sentiment on there. So I'll just have to grab my Stamparatus. I most probably should have stamped it before, but I'm using a clear mount stamp, so hopefully this will work. So I'm just going to, that's pretty straight. And I just want to sit it under there, under the flower. I hope my head's not in the way. So this sentiment is from one of the new ones, Itty-Bitty Greetings, and it actually comes in 2 CD cases and has 32 sentiments. So it's literally got a sentiment for any occasion. So I'm just going to use my Memento ink to stamp that up today. And that's pretty good there. So I'll just slide that magnet off. Let's clean that off with the old chamois. And that's our card for today. So I hope you'll give it a try. Remember, that's the inside. So that's the Serene Garden stamp set, and the Garden Scene Framelits. They haven't bundled them together for some reason, but that's the first one I did when I was experimenting to see how I could emboss the card without having to have all these different layers. And this is the one we did today. So I hope that's helpful, and I really appreciate you watching my tutorials. I do get a lot of joy out of doing them for you. And until next time, happy crafting.